was right yet again.
What? Thank you, Wild.
Today's topic, Saquon's impact. Jeremy Fowler reporting, I've talked to several scouts around the league who believe that Saquon could have that Christian McCaffrey to San Francisco type impact. Wow. Brew, you called this one.
And Nick only thought I influenced NBA scouts. I mean, how long I've been saying this?
A while.
Since it was done?
Yeah.
Since he went to Philly?
Yeah.
All right. This is right on the money.
Nothing to push back again.
This is right on the money.
I know.
All right? Like McCaffrey, Saquon is a strong runner. Not quite the receiver McCaffrey is, but still a good receiver out of the backfield. Obviously hadn't had a great quarterback to throw it to. At least McCaffrey had 2 years with Cam Newton. All right, Saquon hasn't had anything like that. 1 year with Eli at the end and then Daniel Jones. He's going to a team where he's going from one of the worst, some might say the absolute worst, offensive lines in the league to one of the best offensive lines in the league. He's going from being the sole focus of the defense to now we got to worry about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts. And so that's going to open things up for him. I absolutely believe he can have very similar impact to what Christian McCaffrey did. And here's some numbers to show how similar the two are. These are McCaffrey's numbers in Carolina. 62 rush yards a game. Saquon with the Giants, both played 6 years, too, with those teams. 70 yards a game. Yards per rush, similar. Total touchdowns, almost identical.
Yeah,
and now McCaffrey with the Niners, you see the improvements he's had there.
A little funny numbers here because you're doing total touchdowns because they're similar, but you're just doing rushing because
Saquon had more rushing touchdowns.
No, I understand, but you didn't do yards from scrimmage because McCaffrey's such a more valuable receiving threat. And here's why I don't think he's going to have that type of impact. He's not as good of a player. Christian McCaffrey is a borderline Hall of Fame level player. He's got to play longer, but that's what he's been. Saquon Barkley has had one awesome year. I like Saquon. He's had one awesome year, and it was his rookie year.
I'll show you McCaffrey was a borderline Hall of Famer when he was with
hadn't
Carolina.
done enough yet, but we thought he was the best running back in the league when they traded for him. The best all-purpose. Derrick Henry might have been the best pure runner, but as far as when they traded for him, that's why they traded, I think, a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth for a running back.
But his problem was injuries, same as Saquon.
Right.
Not to mention, Saquon had no help.
Okay, but again, how many awesome years have they had? We can show it to you if we can, Dust. Greater than 10 touchdown seasons. McCaffrey 4, Saquon 1, his rookie year. 1,700-yard seasons. I picked that number because 17-game season, 100 yards a game. 4 for McCaffrey, 1 for Saquon. Yards per touch for their career, a full yard better. He's not as good. He's a good player. McCaffrey's a great player.
Saquon is very. All right,
I just don't.
I'm just gonna let it.
Everybody likes Saquon. Christian McCaffrey is a great player. He was in legitimate league MVP discussions as a running back. Saquon Barkley was awesome at Penn State, was awesome his first year in the pros, and has been good since.
He's had injury issues.
Right, but last year
and he's got a horrible team. How many running backs on a horrible team where you don't have a good quarterback, your receivers aren't very good, your offensive line stinks?
Can I ask a question about
How many running backs are doing great things?
Saquon, his rookie year, when he was great. Maybe the injury slowed him down. He didn't have a great running or quarterback his rookie year, like you said.
Eli was at the end.
The Giants' offensive line wasn't great then, but he was great and he overcame it. I'm not here acting like Saquon's not good, but Christian McCaffrey.
That's exactly what you're doing. That's literally exactly what you're doing. I like Saquon. I like him a lot, but then let me go bash him and say that he's not that good and that he only had one good year. So you're talking out of both sides out of your mouth here. I was dreading doing this video because I just knew we were going to get like biased nonsense right here. I mean, it's just so brutal. What do you want Saquon Barkley to do on a trash team like the New York Giants? I'm sorry, New York Giants fans. The team has been awful forever. Okay, especially post Manning. So what do you want Saquon to be able to do when there's no offensive weapons, no offensive line, and no quarterback? You think Saquon is supposed to be able to overcome all of that? That's just nonsense. And yes, the offensive line has gotten worse and worse and worse since his rookie year. There's less weapons since his rookie year. Like, I don't know what you're talking about here. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And we saw the numbers that Christian McCaffrey had when he was with the Panthers. Okay, eerily similar. All right. Actually, Saquon is doing better in rushing yards per game. And so this idea that there's not going to be a huge upgrade, because also the quote said a Christian McCaffrey type impact. Didn't say it was going to be identical. So even if you want to argue that Saquon Barkley isn't as good as Christian McCaffrey, that's fine. You can argue that. You could say, hey man, Christian McCaffrey will go down in books as a top 3 whatever. I don't even want to call him a running back, right? Just a top 3 football player, dynamic offensive weapon, whatever, right? Let's say you just want to make Saquon Barkley is like 10 notches below is insane. It's insane. And also, how are we arguing whether or not McCaffrey is like Hall of Fame level or caliber? He's a great player. Christian McCaffrey's an elite player. He is an elite player. And if Christian McCaffrey is an elite player, then Saquon is at least a great player. I just don't know what you expect Saquon to be able to overcome with the Giants. I really don't. I mean, put it this way. OBJ, who everyone thinks is an unbelievable wide receiver, did he have to leave New York and then Cleveland to go win a Super Bowl? When he was with Cleveland, did he look like he was just done? They were like, the injuries got to the best of him. They slowed him down. He just doesn't have what it takes anymore. He's just not that good. And then they had to release some tape and say, no, look, they're missing him. Baker's not a good quarterback. This, that, and the third. Free OBJ. Even like LeBron James was putting out comments like that. And then what happened? He then goes over to Los Angeles, and he immediately plays like that Hall of Fame caliber player. Balls out in the Super Bowl. Does get injured, but was balling out in the Super Bowl. They don't win the Super Bowl without him. And it was just like, boom, he's back. Now, of course, he got injured, and so he wasn't able to maintain that. But, like, it's just insane to me that we're not going to act like teams don't matter for players, especially positions where you are at the mercy of virtually every single player around you. When you're a wide receiver or a running back, you are at the literal mercy of your offensive coordinator, of your offensive line, of your run game, of your quarterback. If you're a wide receiver and there's zero run game and zero offensive line, you're not going to get the ball a lot. If you're an elite wide receiver and you have a trash quarterback, you're not going to get the ball a lot. If you're a running back and there's no wide receivers to go around and no good quarterback, no threat of an actual passing game, you're going to have a hard time. When there's no offensive line and you're getting hit in the backfield every 5 seconds, yeah, it's going to be problematic. Cam Newton was at least a threat with Christian McCaffrey, even if he wasn't at his elite, levels. People still knew they had to respect Cam Newton. It's just so disingenuous. If we want to give an actual, legitimate, nuanced take on all of this, right? And you favor saying, listen, I don't think Saquon is as good as Christian McCaffrey. You can still say, listen, I think the Eagles are going to be able to do a lot of great things with Saquon. I don't know if it's going to make them as good as the 49ers with Christian McCaffrey, but it's definitely going to have a lot of similarities, a lot of flavors to that. Saquon's very dynamic, does a lot of similar things as Christian McCaffrey, and so this opens up the door. Not to mention, it's not hard to imagine that Saquon is going to play better when you have, Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae, a significantly better offensive line. Even if you want to say that the offensive line has taken a step back because of Kelsey, it's not, again, it doesn't just drop down to the bottom 10. It's still going to be a top offensive line. So it's just these takes are so frustrating because it's just disingenuous or it's just so biased. And either way, I don't like it. I mean, no matter what team you're rooting for, it's just like, I just want to be able to get some like unbiased evaluation, right? And it's just, this is not it. And I am in full agreement with Brew. Like, as Brew was talking, I was like, oh man, he's going to take all the things that I'm going to say, right? And you can only say the same thing so many different times. I'm like, I'm 100% in a line with Brew. And for whatever reason, Nick Wright just like can't even like give an inch, right? Again, he can disagree with Brew, but he can't even give an inch. He's just like, he had one, I like Saquon, but he had one good year. Okay, so then what do you like about Saquon? His eyes? His earrings? Like, I don't understand. Like, what do you like about Saquon then? Because it's clearly not his football play. So, like, I like, what do you say? And again, he overcame it his rookie year. He should be able to overcome it now. I don't even know what to say to that. I really, really don't. Was Patrick Mahomes able to overcome his offensive line? No, he got embarrassed in the Super Bowl. And everyone decided to not blame Patrick Mahomes. To this day, they still don't blame Patrick Mahomes. They still, even the most diehard Chiefs fan, diehard Patrick Mahomes fan, even a diehard Patrick Mahomes hater, they'll still give it up and say, well, the offensive line wasn't good. Well, I'm glad that Patrick Mahomes is offered that. But yet Saquon, a running back who can only do so much, he can't run around and throw the ball, right? He is at the mercy of so many other things, and also doesn't have Andy Reid as his coordinator. He should have somehow been able to overcome that. Yeah, that makes sense. That really, really does. That really makes sense. Also, one last point. Based off of what we heard the Giants staff talk about, we know that they wanted to lean on Daniel Jones more than Saquon because of how much money they paid Daniel Jones. Okay? That also has to deal with it. Right? Like, there's actually that pressure to be like, make Daniel Jones worth that money. Okay? That's how this works. When you overdraft someone, you draft them too high, when you pay them too much money, you want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth from that. So that will also take away from some of the dynamic play of Saquon and even pull his stats down. So you're not going to see him, quote, overcome whatever the nonsense the New York Giants have been doing for God knows how long. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think Saquon Barkley will have a Christian McCaffrey type impact for the Eagles? Or do you believe more aligned with Nick Wright that no? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.